Riveting content. Empowering your life. Welcome to the Sphere. This episode is sponsored by Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, Dr. Ashandra Batiste understands that one of the biggest obstacles is dental fear. The vision at Elite Dental Wellness is to ensure every patient is treated with respect, ultimate care, patience, and love. Call us today to make an appointment at area code 713-789-8680. Houston Housewives of Finance. For more information on increasing your cash flow, becoming your own money manager, and to schedule your complimentary personal finance strategy, contact the Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463. Looking to advertise? Join the Sphere's vast demographic reach of thousands of people all over the world. Send an email today to advertise@thesphere.tv or call us at area code 832-772-7789.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to G is for Gentlemen. I am Kalen Law. Some people call me the professor, but you can call me Senor Wapo. Go ahead and follow me, Senor Wapo 713 on Twitter and Instagram. And I have my colleague, my co-host, my friend, Regis. What's up, man?
Yo, glad to be here, man. Another week, more opportunity.
Yeah.
More fruitfulness.
Yeah, baby.
Let's get it.
How can they get in touch with you?
Let's get it. Everybody can get in touch with me at all social media outlets at Mod Renaissance, M-O-D Renaissance.
Mod Renaissance. Listen, man, I love the name. I'm kind of jealous I didn't come to it first, man.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to keep it simple, keep it light.
Keep it light.
Keep it light.
I hear you, man. Well, listen, we got a power-packed show today. I'm super excited for the show. We want to make sure that everybody that's tuning in can always get with us here on Facebook, on Instagram. Follow us at the Sphere.
Of course.
TV, baby. The Sphere. This is the network. We are global. We're going global with this thing.
Let's do it.
So let's just jump right into it, man. Let's dive in.
Let's get it.
There's a couple things in the news, man, that we need to go about, man, and talk about rather. And I think one of the things that was really big in popular culture, especially on Instagram, it popped up, was this. I don't know if you saw it. This side by side with this lady wearing this Louis Vuitton kind of looking suit that had bubble sleeves on it, and then there was a Gucci depiction of it, right? Well, there's a brother by the name out of Harlem by the name of Dapper Dan. He actually is a real person. I don't think people knew that.
Yeah,
he's a real person. His name is Dapper Dan out of Harlem, New York. He's a couturier, which is a French word for a guy who makes custom clothing, right? Couturier, absolutely.
Yeah, school him.
And it's a French word for guys who makes custom clothing. Well, this brother actually created the first rendition, the left side of that meme that was going across crazy, which was Diane Nixon, who was a former track and field runner for the Team USA. He actually,
right up your alley.
Yeah, right up my alley, baby. He actually made this for it and got in a lot of trouble about it, right?
I'm sure.
Because he was, the short of it is you got to go read the article. Google Dapper Dan. It's on the New York Times website. And the short of it is he was knocking off people's stuff all the time. He was knocking them off left and right. And so Gucci and Louis Vuitton, all of these high-end brands were suing him left and right because they were pissed because he was making stuff for the hood, man.
Right.
For the guys on the block, 125th.
Hood fabulous.
Yeah, on 125th and Leonard.
Hood fabulous.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but when this meme came out that Gucci actually did the exact same thing, but it was with their print, obviously, so they own it proprietarily.
Of course.
People wanted to make sure that they knew, listen, who did it first.
Right, but just to touch on that real quick.
Please.
Because me and you have this conversation a lot about popular culture and where a lot of popular culture comes from. I know last week we touched on Run DMC with the leather pants, the leather jackets,
Shell toes,
and guess what?
superstars.
Let's not fake the funk and act like LaFonz was the first person doing that on Happy Days.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Let's not
not
act
do
like
it.
that.
Let's not
There's
do
a
it.
lot of brothers in Detroit doing that way back in the day.
Yeah.
And just style in general. And especially when you start talking about Harlem, you start talking about style. And Harlem's always been a forefront for style and a forefront for pushing the limits, doing things that other people are not doing.
If I can jump in, if you look at hip hop and you talk to any New Yorker and they try to figure out where cats are from, a Harlem guy's known to be fly.
Oh, of course.
That's what they're known to be.
And I'll tell you something. So you have a lot of these people now that are, they're into Kanye's,
that
trendsetter, all these things, and people will go back and say, oh, and he was a backpacker, and he used to wear Louis Vuitton backpacks and this and the third. I will bet you $1 to a donut when you guys start looking at the wild color polos and all of that. There are two places I will say that for me, I could be ill-informed, but I will say for me, early 2000s, late 90s, I know for a fact the pink polos, that was all Harlem.
Absolutely.
The wild color polos,
Absolutely.
the orange, the pastels. Go to Philly, South Street. I have a soft spot in my heart for South Street. Gym steaks. But yeah, those two things. So, I hope that popular culture and people can realize, even with sneakers, you look at a lot of the sneaker silhouettes that you see now, Saint Laurent, their highs and their lows. That's nothing but the Jordan 1s.
Yes.
All day.
Like
That's all it is.
all day.
You look at Bally. I've got a couple pairs of like really nice low top Bally's. It looks just like the Stan Smith.
Absolutely.
It's the exact same silhouette.
Absolutely.
So let's just keep it
100. Let's keep
here,
it G, baby.
And it is what it is.
It is what it is, man.
So acknowledge that.
I agree, man. What else you got popping on the news on your end?
Oh man, I thought for me this was big news just because I'm a big fan of J. Crew. A bit of a changing of the guard.
It's always fun.
Mickey Drexler stepping down next month. Jim Brett, the former West Elm CEO, will be replacing him, which is a little interesting to me.
Very interesting.
But I will say from a background standpoint, he's been in retail forever.
Right.
Kind of started at JCPenney. He's been several other places in department stores for, I guess, just in general. I won't say it's menswear. But I thought that was interesting because he's been at West Elm since 2010.
Okay. Wow.
So I'm willing to bet you that there will be some changes
as
far as the look at J. Crew.
I agree. I think it might be a little lighter and airier. But they still keep West Elm is still. even though West Elm was still known for simplicity, simplicity and classic iconicism. So I think that because J. Crew is one of the more quintessential American brands.
Oh yeah,
right,
for sure.
For sure. And so West Elm is kind of the same thing, right? And so
that's a good point. I didn't think about it that way.
There's some linearness there.
That's a good point.
But being that he hasn't spent a whole lot of time in menswear, it could be a gift and a curse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So for me, I just thought going from furniture,
houseware.
7 years of houseware, and again, I love design, I love decor. So I think from the creative standpoint, it's great.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely different when you've been in that lane for 7 years and then you jump back into, clothing.
Yeah.
And especially a brand like a J. Crew, which reminds me of a newer brand that's Ralph Lauren, like Club Monaco.
Right.
But such a staple brand, like you said, for the U.S. And then some of the collaborations that they've been doing as well. They do stuff with Nike and Asics and New Balance and several different designers. So it'll be interesting. But I do think that it will be a bit different. I think
I
you're going to
agree.
get some different angles.
I totally agree, man. I totally agree that it will be different, and it'll be refreshing. That's one of the things about American design that I really, really appreciate. that we get kind of a bad rap in the design world sometimes, because they say, it's a copycat,
Right.
Things of that nature. It's very interesting when the largest copycatting brand, retailing brand in America, in the world, is out of the Netherlands, H&M. So, I'm sorry.
Anyway,
right. But we're the copycats, right?
Right.
But no shade, H&M, they do their thing.
I'm
But
just stating, like, as what do they say in the Northeast? Facts,
baby,
It's just facts.
facts,
Yeah,
just
it's
facts.
just facts.
And so I think that it's important to know that with American design, we're getting less stuffy, right? We're getting a lot more free. We're getting a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? Functional, functionally fly. Functionally fly, you know what I'm saying? And that's what J. Crew represents. That's what Ralph represents to me.
Right.
Like, he's functionally fly. There's nothing about Ralph that you cannot just be comfortable but yet fly in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And J. Crew's in the same lane. So I think
sure.
if he keeps that, man, they'll keep the footsteps going right.
Well, I will say one thing though about that, and I want to touch base on this, and it could be a little bit too deep, but I'm going to do it anyway. When we start talking about American brands, and this is all across the board, but definitely American brands, the one issue that I think a lot of people have had is the fact that through media, through advertisement, they don't feel like some of these brands speak to them because they don't see images of people that look like them.
Right.
And for a long time, Ralph did it a little bit. They dabbled. They had Tyson, Beckford. They've had a few guys that dibble and dabble. But when you go and you see a J. Crew now, you do see guys, but I guess historically there hasn't been that diversity.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's been the call in fashion all over the
Absolutely.
world. All over the world. I don't care if it's Vogue. I don't care if the cover of Vogue. I don't care if it's something out of the Condé Nast empire. I think one of the more diverse and inclusive publications, since we're talking about that for a second, is GQ. Here recently, GQ and Details. Details is they've since done some different things, but they really being representative and just leaving their footprint all around. You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
And with that, just talking about appearance, we're talking about people worrying about how they look.
Yeah, man.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Elite Dental Wellness. At Elite Dental Wellness, our vision is to create a welcoming practice that will offer exceptional dental care and a lifetime of dental wellness. We are committed to the finest possible oral care and the overall health and well-being of our patients. Elite Dental Wellness is built upon a foundation of integrity, expertise, and service. Through our commitment to modern dentistry, continuing education, and friendly atmosphere, we strive to make our patients feel that they are part of our family. Dentistry can be a scary, daunting, and uncomfortable. Dr. Batiste and her team work tirelessly to ensure your comfort. Make your appointments today with Dr. Ashandra Batiste at Elite Dental Wellness at 713-789-8680. Again, that is 713-789-8680.
Man, I love. So we're in Houston, right? And so in Houston, we're known for Slowed and Throw, right?
Of course.
And then we also known for some grills.
Of course.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And so you gotta keep your grill right. My grandmother always said, your teeth with an F and your feet. Your teeth and your feet gotta be on point.
Teeth and your feet. I like
teeth
that.
Teeth and feet, baby.
Teeth
and so,
and
shout out to Corrine Hawkins. Rest in peace, my grandmother, my mom's mom.
Let me tell you something, man.
Listen.
There are a lot of what I like to say the old heads.
Yeah.
Grandmothers, grandfathers that gave a lot of people the game.
The nuggets.
A lot of people
Wisdom.
the game.
You hear me?
A lot of people the games. And when you
yeah.
say nuggets, I'm not talking about them bracelets.
Nah, brother.
I'm talking about real nuggets.
Real nuggets.
Real nuggets.
And so with teeth and feet, I wanted to touch base with you on something really quick.
Okay.
With a brand that I'm really, really digging, and that's Taft. I'm not sure if you've heard of Taft, man.
Of course.
So Taft is this
beautiful
really
footwear.
Beautiful footwear. Really, really dope brand.
Beautiful footwear.
Family-owned business that they've done something from a business standpoint that a lot of people can't do, but they've been successful at cutting out the middleman. Right, so they sell direct to consumer. these fantastic quality shoes, footwear at a great price because they cut out the middleman, right? And so with that, they since there's no retail markup, again, they're about half the price of what you would find. So if you look at somewhere that's a really dope brand like an Allen Edmonds, right, or To Boot New York. These are on the cheap end, about $250 all the way up to $600-700, right? What Taft has done is they've cut out this middleman and just kept it really, really inexpensive, right? And so all of the shoes are handmade in Spain by a professional cobbler.
Didn't know that part.
Handmade in Spain.
I did not
And so
know
since
that.
he doesn't have a distributor.
Oh,
Yeah.
those cognacs there.
Yes. Brother, I'm telling you,
That's
Taft
creamy
is the way to
Regis.
go. And they've since released a few new offerings. You know, I sent you a text a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago about, you know, they're going into the Chelsea game, into the simple silhouette game.
I did see I love the Chelseas, and they had the kind of the rubber bottom,
The rubber bottom.
which I think is extremely dope.
Absolutely, going a lot more urban and,
Right.
and street,
Right.
getting away from the hard bottom. Not getting away from it, but just expanding
just
their
expanding.
product
Absolutely.
offerings. So I really, really appreciate that, man. They use full grain leather, and we'll talk about that here in a little more. They use really, really dope leather, full grain leather, and what's called a Blake stitch. And so we're going to talk about the stitching. No, that's really, really key. You'll understand here in a minute. But I need you guys to understand something. Watch out for the brand Taft. Go to taftclothing.com. Taftclothing.com.
Go ahead and spell that out for them. Just in case.
TAFT clothing.com, like William Taft, the president. Go check them out, man. I'm telling you, they are G's for Gentlemen certified. Please believe. And with that, man, let's just kind of segue into a bit of a class. So I'm not sure if you guys know this, those of you who are listening and watching, but by day I'm a professor, and so once we go into class, sometimes you got to make announcements when you're in class, right? Sometimes you have to let people know what's going on in terms of how we're doing things, right? And so I think Regis, before I get into it, I think you have an announcement to let these folks know.
I do for all of our Facebook listeners.
Okay.
I would ask that anybody that has Facebook, that you would subscribe to our show on all of the major platforms. I'd also ask that you review our show in iTunes with constructive feedback.
Yeah.
We want people to come back to us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you see. Let us know if there's anything that we can change.
Absolutely.
For all of the subscribers, you can subscribe to iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher.
Hey.
Share this Facebook Live post and the entire show with your family and your friends. Donate.
One more time.
Donate. It's
Third time
always
for the Holy
important.
Ghost.
Donate to our mission to bring enriched and inspiring content each and every week. Mention donation. Everybody, we'd love for you to.
We listen. We need it.
donate.
We need it. We need it. We need it. You know what? You know what else we need, man? We need to understand the shoe game. We need to understand this thing called footwear. We need to understand.
The shoe game's important.
It's important, man. We have to understand.
But hold on, before you say that,
Talk
I just
to
want to
me.
say two things.
Mhm.
Well, one thing.
Mhm.
I'll just put it all together.
Let's do it.
The one thing that I think is interesting, I have a younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mother, obviously. And something I was taught a long time ago is the three things actually, that a woman sees first in a man is teeth, watch, shoes.
Absolutely.
So shoes are very important.
And if you think about the visual of that, that means she's scanning you.
Of course.
Top, middle, bottom.
Yeah. Like
So you gotta be balanced.
like you're going through the express lane.
Absolutely.
At
Boop.
Walmart.
Boop. Right, getting scanned. Right. You know what's very, very interesting? In 11th grade, roughly, when I'm about 10th, 11th grade, you and I, we sat down, and so many of our listeners and viewers did the same thing. Sat down at this. We went to a room where there were a bunch of people at a desk. They handed you a form and some pencils, and it was called the SAT, right? The SAT.
Yeah.
This was a nerve-wracking test, and this is how you gonna get into college, and
Very.
Scholarships and all of that kind of deal. And they had this section called analogies. Now, analogies were when you could compare one thing to another, right? So I'll give you an analogy. See how you did on your SAT, Regis. Okay.
Let me sit up.
So car is to tire or wheel, as outfit is to
Shoes.
Shoes. They are important. And why are they important? There are a couple of things that I need all of our listeners.
Just for the wax, I was about 1,100. I wasn't that great, but I was 11.
I mean, let's do it.
1150.
I hear you.
Something like that.
I hear you.
I was
13.
somewhere in there.
So
Excuse me. I was like 11 something.
No, you were strong, baby. But just and your score was strong, right?
Yeah,
My
yeah.
score was
But I
strong.
mean,
So your shoe game got to be strong.
But I do
too.
know the sliding scale too. Like the GPA was right, so
Absolutely.
it's cool.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
So
You know.
just like your GPA was strong, just like your SAT score was strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your shoe game got to be strong. But how do we have a strong shoe game? Well,
Preach.
there are a couple of things that we need to understand, right?
Preach.
Number one is we need to understand where it was made. Now, you might say, look, Caleb, listen, bro. I'm not sitting here about the research, the cobbler, and do all of that. But it's necessary. People aren't getting their shoes cobbled by a cobbler one-to-one anymore, but you want to understand where the brand is coming from, right? You want to understand kind of if it's coming out of a certain area in Asia that's known for fast fashion and mass producing things that doesn't give the best quality, or is it coming from somewhere, a part of France or a part of England near Seville Row or out of Philly, that is being handmade, right? And then you know that there's quality and detail in the selection process, right? So you want to understand where it's made. Number two, you want to understand the type of leather is used. There are roughly about 9 different types of leathers that will be used, but the top, we'll just talk about 2 different kinds.
Okay.
And the top one is called full grain leather. Full grain leather is the best grade leather that you can have. Okay, full grain leather is the best grade. Let me say it one more time. The best grade. You don't want any corrected leather. You don't want any corrected leather because that means it's been cut, it's been split. There have been some sort of treatment on it that oftentimes when you walk, it'll look nice and really shiny and beautiful and buffed when you first buy it, but when you walk in, you see those I can't stand them creases, man.
It's almost like diamonds.
Yeah,
Same
almost
thing,
like diamonds. Absolutely.
You want natural.
You want it natural.
You don't want treated.
And the reason you want it natural, though, is because, first of all, it gets a natural weathering, and so the color becomes a lot richer.
It's all about the break.
It's all about the break, baby. It's all about the break. The color becomes a lot richer, and it starts to mold to your foot a little better, right? If you get that corrected leather or patent leather or anything of that nature, something that's really, really artificial, it starts to crease and crack and fold.
The best thing about full grain leather is there's nothing like a good broken in shoe. A great broken in shoe. So just back up really quick and then you can go forward.
Sure.
I just want to explain to people, as far as a hard bottom shoe is concerned, hard bottom shoes for a man is an investment.
Absolutely.
Now you have a lot of people that'll say, "Oh, I can't afford, a $200 or $300 or $400 pair of shoes." I'm not saying everybody can. What I am saying is the amount of money that you go out to go drinking and hanging out with your buddies, you can invest in a good pair of shoes.
Right.
One. I'm not saying you got to have 5. I'm saying 1 or 2. If you have a pair of black and a pair of brown shoes that you invest your money in, end of the day, when that heel gets worn out, if the sole is worn out, you take them to a cobbler or a shoe hospital, and all they'll do is charge you $60 or $70, and they'll resole your shoes, and you've got a new pair of shoes basically.
Right.
They'll recondition the leather. Now, are you going to spend $60 or $70 to do that on a pair of shoes that cost $60 or $70? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
That's the same cost of the shoe. You could just go buy another pair, but after the shoes wear out, after, I don't know, 3, 4, 6, 10 months, a year, because you're wearing them every day, you want a shoe that the leather, you can recondition, you can get them shine, you can shine them yourself, which we'll get into that in another episode as far as shining your own shoes and conditioning those shoes. I just think it's an investment. And anything you spend your money on, you should be able to wear for a lifetime.
Listen, totally agree. So let's, you gave so many nuggets. Let's back up and talk about shoe anatomy, the anatomy of a shoe really quickly, right? So there are a number of different components of a shoe, but we'll just split it up into two different things, right? There's an upper, right, and a lower. So the upper is, you know, you have things like the lining and the top line, the tongue, the quarter, the cap, the eyelets, the vamp, the laces. We're gonna call the upper, though, everything that's above the sole,
Right.
hence upper,
Right.
right? And then you have the sole, and the sole, depending upon the shoe, can be in three different parts: inner layer, inner sole, outer sole, and some sneakers have midsole, right? And then, of course, if it's a hard bottom, you have a heel. So you have the upper and the sole,
Right.
And so what you want to understand about a quality shoe is that it has to be, the construction of it has to be fantastic. It has to be superior. And what does construction mean? Construction really is just talking about how the sole is attached to the upper, right? And so you have a few different ways. You have cementing, which is like really whack. I'm telling you, it's glue. You remember that guy or that person in school whose shoes were always talking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Flippity flop, right?
Yep.
Well, that's because the glue from the shoe, over wear and tear and heat and friction and stuff like that, started thinning and it comes off.
Right.
When you have a shoe that's cemented, really, you can't repair the sole.
Right.
Especially a hard bottom, because that glue is going to pull on the leather. It's going to pull pieces of the leather off, and you want to have something that's stitched, right? You want to have something that's either Blake stitch or Goodyear stitch, right? And so the high level is a Goodyear stitch is a double stitch, right? They're created by hand or machine, okay? But the thing about the Goodyear stitch is they're really, really durable, really, really weatherproof, but they're kind of stiff. And so it takes a while to break in the shoe sometimes,
Right.
you know. Whereas a Blake stitch is a single stitch, and it's really, really common. It's virtually invisible because it's done on the inside of the shoe.
Gotcha.
Okay, and it's weatherproof and waterproof as well, but not as much as
The Goodyear. Yeah.
But it's a lot more flexible. So it's a lot more. It's good for a walking shoe, and so the brand Taft that we talked about earlier, they're Blake stitched.
Okay.
And so it's important that you understand the type of stitching and cementing and the construction of the sole. Also, you need to understand the toe shape. We're gonna talk about this a lot today.
Cap toe.
Cap toe. Listen, you want to have a rounded toe. You want to have a rounded toe, and a rounded point, not a rounded toe. Let me say it like that: a rounded point. A rounded toe will see. Rounded toes aren't fully rounded. Isn't the best. You want to have something that's a little bit more pointed. Okay. And then you want to look at the creative style of the brand, right? You want to look at. Nobody just wants a boring brown shoe all the time.
Can you go back to the last illustration?
Well, see, the last illustration is the incorrect rounded point. It's too round.
That's why I asked. Yeah,
it's too round.
Bring it back.
It's circular.
Right.
Nobody wants a circular shoe.
Right.
You need a rounded point.
Right.
Go visit taftclothing.com and I guarantee you, you'll see plenty of rounded point shoes. But and lastly, never listen to me. I need y'all to look right here. Y'all know I get serious sometimes. Never, ever do a square toe. Hear me. Never do a square toe hard bottom shoe.
Like as if the butcher just chopped your feet off.
Like,
at the
I
front?
mean, just
like the
squares.
toenails and up. All that got
Listen,
chopped off. You don't
never,
like that?
never. And now
With
I
that
know
split seam in the middle.
that split seam.
You don't like that?
I listen, because what it does is it
I didn't
doesn't.
ask you that. I'm asking you, do you like that?
No, I can't stand it.
Oh, okay. I'm
I
just
can't
asking.
stand it.
Okay.
I can't stand it. And I know a lot of our gentlemen that are listening and watching, they'll say oftentimes, "Well, you know, I got a wide foot. I need a wide foot." Well, listen, there are
What do
brands.
they got to do with your toe?
Right. There are brands out there.
Right.
That make a W.
Right.
Make a Y.
There's plenty of them.
Plenty,
Right.
dozens, hundreds of brands out there to make a wide shoe that's
Right.
really, really constructed. Because what it does is it shrinks your foot, and it makes you look a lot portly when you're walking on blocks. So these are the kind of things that you want to understand in the creative style. You know, different color soles or different textiles. You know, along with the leather. Those are super important, man. When it comes to understanding what a quality shoe is, Regis.
Well, I mean, like I said before, man, shoes are an investment. I know there's some people that say, oh, I don't, that's not important to me. And I'm not knocking anybody that, there are certain things that may be important to somebody that aren't important to other people. I'm not saying you've got to have a closet full of, hard bottom shoes. I'm not saying you need to have 100 pairs of shoes. I'm just saying that it's imperative to have 1 or 2 pairs of quality shoes that
Quality
you can wear.
shoes.
And the other thing about the hard bottom is make sure that you can do, if you're going to spend that $200 or $300, $400, $500, depending on what your budget is, make sure you can do multiple things in that.
Listen, right? But you said the key thing, depending upon what your budget is.
There
right?
you go.
You have.
I'm not telling anybody to go and you have to go get a pair of Gucci hard bottoms. I'm not
Right.
saying that. I'm just saying there are brands out there that are in that $200 price point. And I mean, you can get a pretty nice pair of shoes for, two boot. They do some things in that $250.
Yeah.
Allen Edmond does some great things. So
Right.
invest in yourself and how you look, because it makes people know that you take yourself serious.
For sure. And if one day you perhaps want to get one of those Gucci hard bottoms,
Absolutely.
you have to be able to do what you have to do financially to be able to afford it. And this portion of the show is sponsored by Houston Housewives of Finance. Did you know that only 4 states in the U.S. offer financial education? 33% or more than 77 million of Americans don't pay their bills on time. 39% of Americans carry credit card debt from month to month, and 39% of adults say they don't have enough savings. Please don't become one of these statistics. Let Houston Housewives of Finance advise you on increasing your cash flow and becoming your own money manager by scheduling your complimentary personal financial strategy. Contact Houston Housewives of Finance today at 1-844-700-4463 or email us at info@houstonhousewivesoffinance.com. Ask how you can participate in a complimentary financial literacy workshop near you. Houston Housewives of Finance are the new faces of the new age of financial services. Listen, you need to be able to manage your money in order to get these high quality items, because it comes at a price sometimes.
What did Jane Biggs say? I love the dough.
I love the dough. Listen, love the dough. You know what else I love? I love understanding shoes. So let's talk about a quick few do's and don'ts for shoes.
Let's do it.
Right? I gave you some tips. We gave you some tips on what to look for in a high quality shoe, but even still, some stylistically, there are some things that you should do and you should not do. So
For
just
sure.
jump in and stop me anytime, Regis.
Well, I know the first thing I will say is
Please.
high quality leather,
Yes.
because it's almost like a leather jacket. My dad, like I'll just put this out here. A lot of my style, a lot of the things that I have, I give credit to my grandfather and my dad.
Train up a child.
My dad was into Italian sports cars and high quality leather jackets.
I get it now.
One of those jackets he still wears today.
Yeah. Wow.
Simple black leather jacket that had it's a zipper with these 3 Velcro like blocks in a different color gray that he bought in Canada in, I would probably dare to say 79 or 80. 'Cause
Yeah.
He went to college in Toronto.
Okay.
Still wears the jacket today.
Wow. Because he took care of it. Because it's high
it's
quality.
high quality
and he
leather.
took care of it. Right.
And when I say butter soft,
Listen.
you see my face? Like butter soft.
Listen. I hear you, man. And you're right. High quality leather.
There you go.
High quality leather. And this is for the hard bottoms, right? Because tennis shoes most tennis shoe brands in terms of like athletic sneakers use the same kind of textiles. But when you start talking about simple silhouette sneakers, you want to look at the leather.
High quality.
High
man.
quality. Remember,
important.
full grain. Say it with me. Full grain. Okay, I heard you guys. You said it real loud. Good job. Now, in terms of mocks, this is summertime, so we wear a lot of mocks and driving shoes and things of that nature. One thing that you want to remember is with the mocks, it's okay and actually preferred to wear no socks.
Love it.
To wear no socks. Show a little ankle.
Well, let me tell you something about that when you say no socks, not to cut you off.
No,
A
go
lot
ahead.
of people, whenever I say, because you know me, I wear a lot of loafers, slippers, sneakers, even with my running shoes. Oh, you don't wear socks? It's hot. But I will say this. There's nothing that a little baby powder cannot cure.
Listen.
If you put a little baby powder on those toes, slide them in those slippers.
Yes, brother.
And they're fresh. It's light.
Yeah, it's light.
There's no sweat.
And then
Just a little baby powder. That's it.
Absolutely. And maybe you're hyperglandular and you really sweat, right? They have no-show socks.
Right.
I don't mean the no-show that are below the ankle. I mean the ones that go just over the toe. Yeah. They have those, and so you still can have the comfort and of a sock, but it just won't show, right?
Shout out to Veronica Devin. She used to tell me, when there's a will, there's a way.
Listen.
There's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
So it can be done.
Moms, what's up? So no socks. Show some ankle, right? And then on the winter, and this is for the warm weather, right? But on the winter side, if you still want to wear your Mocs or your driving shoes, don't wear thick athletic socks.
Right.
Because the shoe is supposed to fit the silhouette of your foot really naturally. So then if you wear these thick athletic socks with these moccasins or these loafers or these driver shoes, then they're stretched out over time.
Right.
And then when the summertime comes, now you got to buy a whole nother pair because they're too loose, right? Number 3, and I can't believe I have to say this, but I do. Keep them clean, man.
Right.
Listen, a little soap and water. Old school, toothbrush and 409 for your sneakers for the white part, right?
Right.
You know, learn how to polish your shoes. If you want a good tip, go to the shoesnob.com. Google the Shoe Snob. He has dozens and dozens of videos on how to properly polish and condition your shoes, and we'll talk about, as you mentioned earlier, the difference between the two. But man,
Kalen, I would say this: don't even shortchange him. Next week, let's make sure we have a segment on polishing your shoe.
Let's do it.
Your own shoe.
Your own shoe.
Because there's a few things with polishing your own shoe. Because I've heard guys, oh, I don't have polish. But like I said before, when there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
My grandfather's from South America.
Never knew that.
He taught me
Wow.
that if you don't have shoe polish, or in a pinch, or you're going to a interview and you don't have shoe polish, just go get a banana peel, take the banana out, turn on the inside of the peel,
The potassium. Wow.
rub it on the leather,
I love it.
get a nice smooth cloth,
Buff it.
buff that thing.
Yeah. Never knew that.
I've had to do it before.
Bruh, listen. That generation, they knew how to get it
I
done.
tried to tell you
They knew how
there's
to
some
get it
nuggets.
done.
I'm not talking about Denver.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They knew how to get it done,
I'm
man.
just saying.
I tell you. So for sure, please keep them clean. Like, I don't know another way to say it.
There is
Clean
no
your
other way.
shoes.
Right. You don't
Clean your
walk around
shoes.
with dirty shoes.
Right? A shoe shine kit, soap and water. Make sure
Right.
you weatherproof your shoes. We're in Houston, man, and last weekend just started hurricane season for us, and so we opened up with almost a monsoon. I think Jesus started crying. It was raining so bad, right?
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that you weatherproof your shoes. Okay. Sneakers next. I mean, chill with the thick soles.
Right.
I can't deal. These thick orthopedic stop.
Well, the problem is, like I told you, we've had this conversation, is you have a lot of people that follow what everybody else does. There's a black and a white area. There's not a lot of gray area with certain things, do's and don'ts. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. So you just can't, the thick soles. Again, for the brothers who say that, I got bad feet, like my grandfather used to say, there are dope brands out there that make it like a New Balance. New Balance are everywhere. International brand. They are a walking shoe.
Listen, New Balance kind of
get you a 574.
Right. They messed me up a little bit during the election. It's okay though. I'm not mad.
I mean,
I
yeah.
had my little riff, and then they tried to go and autocorrect, and it wasn't. We were saying that we were just on free trade and the U.S. brand. Okay, that's cool. And I've always been a very big New Balance person, but I will say from a comfort level and from an orthopedic level, they've always been at the top of the top.
Absolutely. And the style is fantastic. They have so many different brands, and you've heard us say so much about brands and giving publicity to brands, and this portion of the show was sponsored by The Sphere. Maybe you're starting your business and looking for a place to advertise. Do you have a need to reach out to thousands of people across the world to build or sell your brand or product? If so, get your product placement and advertising needs handled right here at The Sphere. We offer a wide variety of content delivery platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Plus, we have a vast demographic reach within the United States as well as modern countries across the globe. Our enriched content and inspiring dialogue, coupled with your strategic ad, is surely to hit the mark every time. Call us today at area code 832-772-7789. That's 832-772-7789. Or send an email over to advertise@thesphere.tv. Listen, let's jump right back into it. The last thing, no square toes, man. I can't. Like, that's a don't. That's such a don't that it's a don't.
It's a no.
Right. It's a no. Stop with the square toes. Get you a nice rounded point shoe, Allen Edmonds.
So if you were to walk into like a lounge or a restaurant, what would you say to a guy you see that wears that with like jeans or something?
So for me, man, the way I approach it, I would approach it just talking about a dope brand.
Mm-hmm.
Just, talking about a brand like Taft. Or talking about a brand like Allen Edmonds. Hey, man, I see your kicks, man. You a shoe guy?
Right.
Oh, wait, let me tell you about this dope brand I saw, man, and pull out a pic. And show him like, oh, my God, those are fly, but I can't wear those. My feet are too wide. Well, actually, Allen Edmonds has a wide selection, right? You know what I'm saying? For you. Yeah, right. That's how I would do it.
I mean, look at those Chelseas, man. But this is the thing that bothers me. You see a lot of guys, and some guys will see stuff like this and they'll say, oh man, I can't pull that off. Yeah, and I hate that phrase. Yeah. Like, what does that mean? You can't pull that off.
That's fear,
I know there are certain things that you can and can't do from a body type.
Right.
But
listen, anybody can pull off a boot, man.
Right.
I'm saying, what do you mean by that? Bro. It's a boot.
I've never heard anybody say, oh, I can't pull off those cowboy boots. I just can't pull that off. You just do it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't pull that off. Like, you just do it.
Man, in terms of what to just do, what do you do about bracelets, man?
I have some questions. I actually have some questions about that.
It's kind of taboo.
It is.
Some circles.
It is.
With guys
some guys think it's too feminine.
Right.
Me personally, I like bracelets. I've worn bracelets for quite some time, but I would say that I have a couple questions.
Sure, talk to me.
For myself, I know what I do.
Right.
I'm not necessarily saying that's proper or what's right, but I would say as far as stacking is concerned, how many do you wear?
Right.
I would say, can you wear them with a suit? I would also say, do they have to have a meaning or, right? Because when I go out, I get a lot of questions about my bracelets. Now, we'll get into this later. I know where I get all of my bracelets from. There's one particular person that I'm going to give a shout out later to. But for yourself, what would you say the do's and don'ts are for bracelets? So
for me, I think it's about balance, right?
Okay.
And scale. These are two terms that I use quite significantly when I talk to my clients in terms of style. I don't like to stack a lot larger than the bezel of the face of my watch.
Okay.
That's what I do because it looks.
That's actually a good
keeps
point.
It balanced, right? The band. Sometimes you can have a larger bezeled. You can have a larger bezeled watch with a smaller band. I'm not going to necessarily make the bands and the bracelets match, but I'm going to make the bezel match. So if I have a 47-inch, 48-inch bezel or 50-inch, I like larger bezels or 50-inch bezel. I'm going to have 3 or 4 bracelets stacked on, right? And so for me, that's what's most important is keeping that balance. Because if you're a minimalist and you have a 40, you might be a guy that likes a 40-inch bezel watch, but then you have 5 bracelets on your wrist.
Right.
It looks weird,
crazy.
It looks unbalanced. So for those of you who are watching, you see I have 4 bracelets stacked. Then I have a 40, I think this is a 46, 47-inch bezel on this watch, and it's balanced. It doesn't look like it's too much.
I'm gonna tell you what's interesting about that too is this is what I like about style is it's everybody does it different.
Right.
I wear my bracelets on the same side as my watch.
Agree. Yeah.
So if you see here, I have my watch, my bracelets are here. I usually wear 2 to 3 that I stack and I put on the same side. But again, I've seen guys that have bracelets all the way down to 4 or 5 inches, and it's like
into their knuckles almost.
Bracelets, and it's like, what's going on?
See, and for me, that's a little too much. It's about your comfort level, right? It's about your comfort level. But for me, I like to stack, and then sometimes I do stack on the same side as well. Today I'm not, but I like to stack according to the bezel of the watch. Do you wear it with suits? I'm okay with it.
Right.
Now, I think it's important to know that the more you stack, the more casual it looks.
Absolutely.
So if you're in a professional environment, you're in a business environment, it's not business casual, it's not casual, then you might just want to do one bracelet, maybe
Can
two.
I
max.
intervene?
Go ahead.
I will tell you from my experience, the one thing that I found, especially being someone that I won't say I pushed the envelope, but I definitely put my own spin on things. Just be prepared to answer questions.
For sure.
Because for myself, especially I have a jade bracelet here that this one was actually not made by someone. This was given to me. The other ones were made by a jeweler, Adrian, here in Houston.
Shout out to Adrian. She's so dope.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, I do.
But what do you think the first question people ask?
What does that mean? What
There
does
you
it mean?
go.
Because
What does that
because
mean?
certain stones have certain
There you go.
significances to certain belief systems.
There you go.
Right.
So it's, well, what does that mean? So be able to answer that question.
For sure.
But also, especially, I'm just talking about in the corporate background.
Right,
Like for
right.
myself, I would never wear like 4 or 5. I may wear 1 or 2 going into a business meeting or something like that.
And then it depends on the size. Like, because typically you wear larger gauged stones.
Right.
Mine are oftentimes a lot smaller, so I
Right.
can stack more, but
Right.
it's the same size.
Right.
The 4 that I have on right now are.
Now we're just talking about common sense.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Which is not that
that's
common.
Exactly. It's a misnomer. That
All
term
right,
is a
Professor.
misnomer,
All
you
right,
know.
Professor.
And so, those are my 2 things. To keep it balanced with your watch, and just know your environment. If you're going to a place where it's jewelry or it's really conservative, just keep it simple. If you want to wear one, just wear one that's the same color as your belt. Right? Wear a brown one or a black one. Keep it. If you just have to spice it up a little bit.
When in doubt, I would say simple is always the best.
Listen, less is more, man.
Right?
Less is more.
It's
There's a
always
reason
the
why
best.
minimalism has been around forever in
Right.
terms of fashion.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. I agree.
So you were talking about a brand, man, with Adrian. Go ahead and tell us a little bit more about what else you rocking this week, man.
Well,
that you
for
fooling with.
the brands to watch, obviously, Adrian Wills and her bracelets and jewelry are ridiculous, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
We can get into that later on in the show or next week, but that's where I go to get all of my bracelets. She does women's jewelry. She's getting more into men's jewelry, but definitely into the bracelets. And literally, that's where I go to get everything I have, except
Adrian
for
is
one.
so dope, man. When you introduced me to her at your event in Saks a few months ago,
Yep.
We just hit it off. And her pieces are phenomenal.
Yep.
Who else you like, man?
Love Karhu. Karhu is a Finnish brand
Finland, baby.
of sneakers. And everybody, if you've tuned into our last 3 episodes, you would know that I'm a huge sneakerhead. And Karhu means bear in Finnish. So it's
Didn't know
very,
that.
Yeah, very similar to
Wow.
very similar to like a New Balance.
Okay.
Beautiful suedes, leathers.
Very sturdy, comfortable.
Great sneakers.
Yeah.
That you can wear with everything, because like I said, I'm a huge fan of being a chameleon and being able to adapt to your situation and doing multiple things and different things.
Right.
So I
Right.
would say Karhu, and then the last would be Todd Snyder.
Come on, Todd.
Now Todd Snyder to me would probably be the god of collaboration. He's done a zillion different collaborations. He's done
Supreme
things
is
with,
coming after him now, though.
hey, PF
But
Flyer.
Yeah, I know.
He's done stuff with Champion.
Yeah.
He's done stuff with Timex. So
I
mean,
forgot about the Timex
we're
collab.
talking about like timeless brands. here.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look at Timex and their watches. He's done things with them. PF Flyer, Champion. So when people think of like Champion, they think of like Jadakiss, put your hoodie on.
Yeah,
just
man.
Thug it on.
Right.
out, you know?
Right.
But
And Champion is one of those brands that transcends
timeless.
cultural lines too.
They're timeless.
Absolutely.
But I mean, he's actually put together like a menswear brand with Champion that is activewear.
Mm-hmm.
But how can I say this?
Fly.
It's very cut and sew, if that
Fly.
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things that you could wear on a Saturday, go to the coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going in there in the baggiest sweats I have. Fitted, very great fabrics.
Right. Or, yeah.
But it fits well. It looks nice. It looks like I took some time to put on something today, just to go to the coffee shop if you're with a date, or maybe it was
Maybe go to the museum and get some culture.
How about this? Maybe it was one of those long nights.
Hey.
And you just had something in that weekender bag.
Listen, that we talked about 2 episodes ago.
We did.
Okay.
We covered it.
You know, exactly. You know, maybe you are going to the museum.
For the young guys, we've been there before.
Absolutely. Maybe, you know, going to the museum trying to catch some culture.
There you go.
You know, or going down to the coffee shop to listen to a new DJ that's spinning out there, is trying to get a new mix out. You know what I'm saying?
Like going to the flat.
Yeah, to the flat or
You know,
something like that.
going to the flat on a Sunday.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah, man. Speaking of culture, man, what's up, Culture King? What you listening to this week, brother?
I got some things that have been brewing.
Oh yeah, see, I love it because if you guys don't know, this guy's a music head too. So he's gonna come with something that you've never heard about.
Eric Lau, One of Many, which has been out for maybe 2 or 3 years, but it's been in my rotation.
Yeah.
Eric Lau is a ridiculous producer who's put together so many different things with R&B people, hip hop guys, hip hop heads, other producers.
Right.
The Freddie Gibbs album, the last Freddie Gibbs album is just nuts from a hip hop perspective.
It is.
Agreed. You Only Live Twice.
You Only Live Twice. Man.
That album is nuts. And then the last, which you guys have heard on this whole podcast, would be a really dear friend of mine, Jedi Master, who's a producer who just put out his new beat tape.
Early Service, baby.
Yeah, which is jamming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's jamming.
I know you heard the tunes in the background.
Yeah.
Listen, we like to keep it sexy, keep it swanky, keep it gentlemanly on G is for Gents.
Absolutely.
You know, one more thing that's gentlemanly before we wrap up, man, that I'm really passionate about. You and I are as well, because we've shared publications and what we looking at, and that's reading, man. And as a culture king and as someone who's a gentleman, I think that it's important that we understand that we have to feed not only our bellies, but we have to feed our brains.
Absolutely.
Right? And so one of the things that I'm excited to read, man, is The Invisible Man got the whole world watching by a young brother by the name of Michael Denzel Smith. It's Invisible Man got the whole world watching a young black man's education, right? And so he wrote this from a perspective of what it was like to live as a black man during the tenure of the first black president. You know, what it's like to come of age as a black man during this tenure, and it's an analysis of the insincerity of respectability politics and the need for true intersectionality and thinking of race, gender, and power.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. And so as a political science professor by day, it's really, I think it's important to understand how we fit in this framework. But as a gentleman by life, right? Maybe a teacher by day, but as a gentleman by life, we gotta feed our brains. We gotta feed our spirits with dope music, right? With dope poetry, with something from the arts that's gonna titillate every part of our
It's
psyche.
just culture it's just culture. Culture in general.
For sure, man. Well, listen, we appreciate all of you guys tuning in. I am Senor Wapo. Follow me at Senor Wapo 713 on all social media platforms. And my guy,
you can follow me at Mod Renaissance on all social media platforms.
Listen, we need you to follow us. We need you to share this podcast, share this post on your Facebook and your Twitter. Go ahead and subscribe. We're on so many different platforms: iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Right? We're on it all. But listen, always do one thing for us. You can keep it gangster,
or you can keep it gentleman.
but always keep it G. Next time.